We've been watching a lot of the videos from Arizona, so Mr. Rose, I've convinced him to do some videos for us. Sensei Rose has allowed me to work here with him for about 10 years. I still haven't got anything down, but I figure another 10 years I'll get something down. But his striking is really, really good, and so I'm hoping we can watch him and learn from him and do it the way he does it. So go ahead, Rose does that.
Thank you. 10 years seems longer.
It seems like forever, doesn't it?
Since he read me, I'm just going to call him Dave, just for brevity and stuff, and don't call me Tracy or whatever else. Lord. Dave was talking about the kicks. I'm going to start off very basically, mostly because my guys need to hear this all the time, and I could reuse this video and give it to my guys so I can stop yelling at them all the time. So we're going to start with a couple of ideas, concepts of kicks, and then kind of work the specifics of the kick that Dave wants to kind of work with. We do all these kicks. Primarily though, because of our distancing, we stay a little bit closer. The first action that people do, because the distance is so close, like walk before Kuzogo, right? And they have a hand there, because the distance is sparring distance is so far out, is they turn their hips first and they bring the kick around. Now, if I do on the left side, you can see they turn the hips first and bring the kick around. Now what happens is my hips are facing outside of me, and I can't really get in there, I can't really close this, I can't do anything, so I withdraw or I try to follow through. These kicks are designed for this distance, and they're designed to be a one-off. What I mean by a one-off is I come up here and I crack that leg and I come back out here, right? That's pretty good. You can get a lot of power. There's a lot of good technique with it. But a couple of things start to happen. One, in order to get the motion going, the inertia going, I want to step. So what people do, they step outside this way so they can actually crank the hips around a little bit more. What that does is open up the ankles so I get more rotation. And this kick is based on rotational energy mostly. They try to get a little weight drop into it by dropping the leg down, but at that point, it's just the weight of the leg chopping in. It's still a very dangerous kick, and you see a lot of the Muay Thai guys doing this. When you're stepping in this kick to close that distance, because I can't reach from here, the tendency is to think about the kick since that's all they're doing. And they'll do two things. They'll turn out this way. Once you turn out, that's a very, very weak, vulnerable position. It's hard to get out of that position, it's hard to get in, and it's hard to follow with anything else. Two, by stepping out this way, it really takes the hands out of the play, so it's a one-off technique, the kick only. And three, what they generally do is what we call pegging. They'll take that leg and they'll put it in front of you. Now by doing that, I really can't go forward, and the tendency now is to lean back with the turn. So the kick will look like this. You'll get a lot of power on there, but there's a lot of disadvantages too. As long as you understand the disadvantages, then you can cope with them and deal with them. Use the kick at the right time. Okay, the kick that we're going to work on is a little bit different. The standard front kick that people are taught to do, and everything is basically, all the kicks are basically the same, it's just a change of the timing. And we can circle back to that if we need to as we go. Now the front kick that people are taught to do is to bring the knee up higher than the hip, one line with the hip, and then they go straight up. They rotate the hips in this position, so it's more of a pushing action. You can get a lot of strength, and the reason they do this is they go high and everything else. What that does is it isolates the muscle group that you're using, primarily to the quads here, on that extension. And there's not much power there. You get a little bit of the abs this way, a little bit of the core rotating, but it really doesn't give you anything over what we just did. As a matter of fact, that's a lot less powerful than turning out and really throwing the hips into it like we talked before. Okay. Number one, first we're going to do is we're going to keep that knee over that foot. Number two, we're going to have the explosion of the hips be at the end instead of the beginning, right? The idea behind this is kind of like a fishing rod. We're going to really get a lot of torque, a lot of kinetic energy in that rod, and then drop and transfer the right amount of weight at the right time in the right direction, okay? Now, with this kick, the idea is we're going to be a little bit closer. We can start out here, but since I'm moving in this position to close the distance, all my tools are available. So what I'm going to do is come in behind my strike, and now that kick is right there. I want to hit you.
Yeah, you will. You're gonna hit me. It's okay. Don't make everyone believe like you don't hit me.
You got a lot more videos here. So again, when I do this kick here, it takes everything out of position, especially if I don't turn my shoulders in time, because my shoulders have to drop back to balance off the hips. If I do it this way, I store all my power this way. Now I come in. All my techniques right there, I can really kind of work. So I come in this way, I can come in behind my hands, shoulder forward, knee bent, now the leg comes out, hip push, leg turn, and this happens on the end. Now, go back to the front kick. Instead of having the knee up, out, back, and down, the important part is to let the weight transfer. Be like that. The first thing we talked about is getting your body weight moving. So what they do is they step forward, but your body weight remains behind. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah. What we're gonna do is let the weight come forward. We have a mantra here, muscle cost, gravity is free. So by dropping that weight forward, we're relaxing, and now we can do anything that we need to do. Cut any angle we need to do. Dropping it forward, my body weight goes forward this way. Now in that front kick, as I do that, the hips tuck slightly, so the knee lines up with the hip. The most important part about doing this kick is two things. There's a slight arc to the kick. It's not straight this way. There's always an arc to a technique. When you have an arc to the technique, you're using your core muscles, and it's a very complex core muscle action. Not just circular, not this way, but really kind of like a ball spinning. You know, we call it a J-draw, this way. So, weight forward, relaxing into it, hips rolling under, knee lines up with the hip, slight arc, the kick comes up this way as the hips rotate. Now, the most important part of this stage is keeping the knee going forward towards the target. If my knee goes forward towards the target, watch what my hips do. My body weight naturally goes into the kick, so when I explode on the end, that's all the muscle power coming on the end. So, drop this way, I'm just going to touch it right there. Drop this way, relax, knee coming forward, shoulder square, hands still in the same position I punched from my strike from, and from here, push it. Now look where we're at here. Look where we're at here. So we close the distance. Now on this technique right here, the kick is the primary weapon. It's really hard to come over with hands. Here, that kick is hidden behind the technique, and since we bring the hips back after the kick, we can block out and then come back around. So that kick is integral to all the strikes that we do. Now the front kick looks like this. Here's what most people do. Here's what we do. Rotate and snap it back up. Rotate. From the side, you can see the hips come forward, weight coming in. The recovery is from the hips, not from the legs, so it's not this. The recovery is from the hips and then down. The hips, side. So by doing this, we have complete control of not only the kick, but all the action in between post and impact. Does that kind of cover everything that you're
Yeah,
talking about?
because the way you guys kick is when you come in here and you do that nice straight in kick, boom, we're set. Now you're set to get in close, to get those throws, to get those techniques.
Exactly.
Right? So when we do our front kick, like you said, Sensei, we come here and we're back here, we're back to here, because that's what's set. But if you can do it with that hip snap, you come up, now we're ready to come in. Close that distance, get in here on him.
Exactly.
Right?
And when I get guys that kick like that, can I just have a kick like you do? Let's keep going.
Oh, I
Keep going. Just keep going.
Oh,
Hit me. Hit me. This is what happens. That's what happens instantly. When I did the kick this way, there's not much time for him to block. I'm already coming. Plus, he's not thinking about that kick, that's coming through. Or maybe off the front foot this way. Everything is sandwiched in between. Now, when you do the kick,